What's up guys? Welcome back to another week of hair transformations with Lauren. This week I have a huge color correction that I did this past week on my lovely client Carla, and I'm just gonna walk you through, tell you what I did, my steps, and my struggles tackling this project with her hair. She has pretty much all salt and pepper, so we were working on blending out her gray and the previous color to match her natural. So this is Carla's before. She let her roots grow out pretty long. She was coming to me almost like every month to get a retouch, but because of COVID and quarantine, she let it grow out for a really long time and she decided to just go natural. And it's something that we've been talking about for a while, but she was finally like ready to let it, like, let's do it, because her roots were just so long. So she was like, you know what, I want something a little bit lower maintenance. And there you can see on her ends, like her mids and ends, I was basing her with Faction 8. I believe I used 900 and 20 vol, and doing this, it didn't really like cover her gray completely. It mostly like blended it, so it was never like an opaque type of cover. It was always like a blending where you could still see some natural highlights there from her grays. So I went in and trimmed her hair, and I like to trim my client's hair before I do the color so I don't waste any color. And also I feel like it just goes by faster. I don't know, maybe it's just me. If I cut my client's hair first and then I do the color and then maybe like do a few surface cutting or like texturize at the end, I just feel like the whole appointment just goes by a lot quicker, but maybe that's just me. So yeah, I just trimmed up her hair, and she said that she cut her hair herself during quarantine. I mean, whose client didn't? So it really wasn't that bad. The only thing that I could really tell that she cut her own hair was like the front pieces when she was like trying to do her own curtain bangs or whatever. I mean, literally everyone has been trying out cutting their hair, experimenting. I'm just glad she didn't color it and put like a box over it so that we could do this transformation. Alrighty, so after I was done with the haircut, it was time to start Carla's color. So I started in the back, and I do her application similar to how I do my global lightning application, and I started in the back, and on the very bottom I like to start with 7 vol because it's closer to the body, so it's gonna have some heat from the body, and it's just gonna those hairs are just a little bit finer, so they're gonna process a little bit faster. So I like to start off with a lower volume. Even when I get to the front, I'll go back to 7 and then work my way towards 20 towards the top. And I just take really thin sections, enough that I can like see through them, and then I just lay it over the last and just apply the product and generously just saturate the hair so that it's really even. And this is just gonna lighten the mids and ends only, and I'm really not touching her root at all because for this color correction she wants me to leave her root and just like blend everything to kind of match it or make it look as similar as possible. So when I get to the top here, you can see that I'm taking a thin slice, pretty paper thin, and painting over it. And when I paint over it, I kind of feather at the top so that I don't have too many harsh lines. And again, I repeat the same process as I get towards the front sections. So again, at the hairline, I start with 7 vol, and then as I work my way towards the top like I am now, I am back at 20 vol. And again, just taking paper thin sections, fully saturating, laying it right on top of the last section and feathering at the top. This way, it's a fast technique and I'm able to lighten those mids and ends all as a whole pretty quickly. And I like this because it's just faster than using foils, and you kind of still get the same amount of lift. So this is what it looked like application wise once I was done, and there you can see the back is already lightening very nicely. So pretty. So I'm just gonna like let this process. I probably let this process for about like 30 or 40 minutes, and I just kept watching it like every 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that the hair integrity was there. So after about maybe 30 minutes, the product started to swell, so I kind of squeegeed off the excess product that was swelling so that her hair wasn't dripping with product. And I just kind of let this sit for the remainder time of trying to get it as white as possible. So here, I wasn't worried about mixing up a fresh bowl or that the lightener was old, because we're just trying to lift it just a little bit more so that we can get to a level 10. And at this point, I was really checking and making sure that the hair was still good and healthy. So after I was done, this is kind of what her hair looked like once I rinsed off all the lighteners. So I started prepping her before I toned her with some Barcelona purple shampoo from Pulp Riot. And this stuff is amazing because it doesn't really dry out the hair. It smells really great and it's very pigmented. So it was a great pre-tone for my silver toner that I was going to put on her. So off camera, I already toned her mids and ends to like a nice silvery tone, and then I've already placed in her low light, and I only decided to low light her throughout her root and like to the mid area, not so much of the ends, but mostly in the mid area to like blend in with her natural gray. And I decided to just do a partial for this just to make it easy and save some time because she mostly just parts in the middle anyways. So I already low lighted her. I used from Faction 8, I used 5.1 and 5.8, and that matched perfectly with her natural. And then after that, I'm going in with 7.1. So you can see here when I lightened her, where the lightener meets her natural, there's this warm band right there. It's kind of like a level 7. So I went in, and in between all of the foils and her low light and where the band is, the rest of her head, I went in and just kind of like shadow rooted where the band is with 7.1 1-to-1 from Faction 8. And this really saved me so much time because I was really not trying to low light her whole head, because that probably would have taken me like another hour or two to do that. So I was like, how can I make this a little bit quicker and working a little smarter, not harder? So I literally just thought of a formula. I was like trying to think of like what color I could put on for this band that could like kind of mimic her natural, and I thought that the level 7 ash from Faction 8 would have just been perfect, and it totally was. And you'll see at the end that this band is like pretty much covered with the 7.1, and I was pretty impressed with this color. And then once I was done applying the lowlights and the color, I let that process for about 20 minutes. And then right at her hairline, it kind of got a little overtoned. So off camera, after this was all done processing, I applied some lightener really quick and then just retoned her hairline to be a little bit whiter to match her natural gray a little bit more. And again, this is Carla's before. This is what her hair looked like before the color. And this was her after. This whole process with her haircut took about 6.5 hours, and for these type of projects I do charge hourly because they are a color correction and you never know how long they will actually take. So I always tell my clients and give them a rough estimate about how long, and then just tell them how much my hourly rate is. But there you can see how beautiful this color blended. And I will say, from doing this project, I've learned that creating this gray type of transformation to match the natural, it's really just an illusion. Like, you're creating an illusion to match her gray, because it's really impossible to really pick out each of her grays and match it perfectly. But I really had fun doing this color correction. It was definitely a challenge for me to create this. I know that there are so many different ways to recreate this type of look and match the gray, and this was just how I did it and what worked for me. And there you can see the band is pretty much covered up. You don't really see it too much there. It's blended in with that 7.1 pretty darn well, and I was pretty impressed, and everything just kind of flows, and she was really happy about it. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. If you guys like it, would you guys try it out, or if these freak you out, because I know a lot of times these type of color corrections can be really scary, but when you really break it down, do it step by step, and just take it slow, I feel like it makes sense, and I really enjoyed. It was very rewarding to see how beautiful the outcome was for this. So again, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning into this week's transformation video, and I will talk to you guys next week in my next video.